Hi, I'm Jordana Michelle, creator of Women Wanting Women and Come Out Confidently, the premier online dating, relationship, love, life, and success programs for women like us. And there are links below if you want free access to some of what I teach there. But in this video, I want to talk about 3 little-known reasons why lesbians struggle with self-confidence. And this is really important because when we're dating women, having confidence is a huge turn on, whereas lacking confidence could be a huge turn off. And this is also really important because if, as queer women, there are things that are affecting our confidence that we're not aware of, then we have no ability to take control over it and start to recorrect our minds. Whereas when we do start to have awareness over the things that are impacting our self-confidence, then we can take control over ourselves and over the situation and start to feel better. So this is really important. And there are 3 things that could cause lesbians to struggle with their self-confidence more than other people. And so I'm going to explain what they are. The first one is that chances are good that our first early crushes when we were little, the first times that we had a crush on someone else, it was unreciprocated or unrequited. And the reason that this happens to so many queer females is that 9 out of 10 girls don't identify as LGBT. So 9 out of 10 times, if we had a crush on someone, she simply wasn't wired to have the same kind of feelings for females as we're wired to have. And so if we have stronger feelings for someone than she is capable of feeling for us, then that relationship can often be unequal. It could feel very unbalanced and can leave us feeling rejected and not good enough. And really, it can lead to things like jealousy and possessiveness and just overall insecurity, especially if that girl does have strong feelings for another guy. Like if she has a huge crush on a guy, or if she is, ditches you as a friend to go be friends with more popular people or another group where maybe you're not included, right? These things could really hurt when we're little. And what can feel like simple social rejection, oftentimes, since we have such strong feelings for girls that at that point in our life, we're not prepared to handle, what can actually be sort of a form of romantic rejection at a young age can feel very confusing. But either way, it's a feeling of rejection that really wasn't our fault or anything. It's just the fact that as queer females, we're wired in a way that makes us able to feel much stronger feelings for other girls than your typical heterosexual, heteronormative female has the capacity to feel. And so 9 out of 10 times when we were little girls, the crushes that we had were not reciprocated, they were not requited, and left us feeling unbalanced, like an unbalanced feeling, an unequal feeling, and a feeling of rejection in our early relationships. So that's a big deal, and that's the first reason. The second reason that lesbians can often struggle more with self-confidence is the fact that girls are really mean. And when we're little, it's normal that girls are mean. This doesn't mean that girls are bad people. The truth is that all females in nature are competitive, and we're just creatures, right? We evolved from creatures in nature. We're primates, just like monkeys, just like chimpanzees, bonobos, orangutans, great apes, right? We are a type of primate, and all primates are social animals that compete for status hierarchies. And they're really mean. The females among most primates, all other primate species other than our own, the way that they compete is by beating the crap out of each other and dominating each other physically. Actually, human males, they are still sort of able to do that. If you think about when we're younger, the alpha male tends to be the biggest and the strongest because males are allowed to be aggressive in that way and competitive in that way. But among humans, we're socialized differently, especially in the culture that most of us grew up in. We are socialized where little girls are supposed to be nice, and we're not supposed to show aggression. And we're not given the space to maybe fight physically the way that our primate ancestors hundreds of thousands of years ago maybe were fighting. There's a really cool book written about this by a woman named Rachel Simmons. It's called I Girl Out. And what she talks about in the book is what she calls indirect aggression. Because girls aren't allowed socially to be directly aggressive with each other, we take out our competition and our aggression in an indirect way, oftentimes socially. So we'll do things like ignore other girls, exclude her, gossip about her behind her back, leave her out, not be really cold and ignore her when she comes and sits with us in the cafeteria I know all of these things have not only happened to me, but I also participated in doing them because this is just the sort of thing that little girls do. And it turns out it's just humans doing their thing, right? Little girls aren't bad humans. It's just that this is just the way that we express our competition. So saying things like, I'm not talking to you anymore, you're not invited to my birthday, I'm not your friend anymore, or gossiping, to ruin someone's reputation, or all these things that little girls do to each other. That is a normal part of being human because we're not able to be directly aggressive. So we do this indirect aggression against each other, which is part of our natural competition, which is literally a part of survival. Because we evolved as primates, and our ancient ancestors, dominance and the female that was the most dominant had the most access to food. She had the most access to resources, and the more food she would have had. So then if a woman, our ancient ancestor had more food, then she'd be able to have a more viable pregnancy. She'd have more breast milk to feed her child when it was born. And then that child would have been bigger and stronger, more able to grow, to get their own food and then survive into adulthood so that then it could reproduce, find a mate and reproduce again, and then continue the chain up to us, which is why we're alive today. So our ancient ancestors were very competitive and they were good at competing, and that's why we're alive today. And we have these instincts, all of us, to be competitive. But as little girls, when we're actually queer, the problem is that we have such strong feelings for other females, right? We're wired to care so much more about other females, right? Because when we're younger and our strongest feelings are towards other females, then mean girl behavior could end up making us feel a lot worse than it would for your typical heteronormative straight girl. Because even though it's totally emotionally crippling and terrible, no matter who you are, when you're getting bullied or when little girls are being mean to you, I'm sure it feels like your world is ending, whether you're LGBT or heteronormative. But for queer females, it can hurt so much more because a lot of times the girls that are being mean to us are girls that we care about in a deeper way. And not only that, then when we grow up to be adults and we start dating other females, we might still have some trust issues based on scary things that happen within our group of friends when we were younger. So that could lead to trust issues and, again, more confidence issues around other females. And so that's the second reason. It's that girls are mean and competitive, and we are wired to care so much more about other girls than the rest of the population. And so the third reason why lesbians can struggle more with self-confidence is that humans are wired not to want to be different. Again, our ancient ancestors grew up in tribes. They lived and survived in tribes of about 150 people. And their survival depended on them being a part of this tribe. Individual humans back then really weren't able to survive on their own. So the idea of being so different that we would get kicked out of our tribe would have meant the difference between life and death. And so that's a terrifying feeling. And so even though we live in a different time right now, and even though being different isn't really going to kill us anymore, it's not going to leave us dead, most likely in most parts of the world, we still evolve with these feelings that make it really scary to feel different. It just because the way that our emotions express themselves, the idea of being different, we survive with instincts that make that terrifying for us. And the truth is that as queer humans, there are things that were probably a little bit different about us when we were growing up. So for example, depending on how much we do or don't like boys, or did or didn't like boys back in the day, if all of our friends had a crush on a particular guy, and we might not have felt the same way, or might have said that we felt the same way, but didn't necessarily know why we were saying that. We were just saying that because everyone else was saying that. Another thing could be, and I remember as I got older and all my friends were having so much fun hooking up with guys, and for me, even though I had boyfriends, I never felt very good. And so I used to wonder what was wrong with me. Like I thought there was something wrong with my body, or I thought it was my fault that hooking up with guys didn't feel as good for me as it felt for them. And that actually made me feel bad. I was pretty insecure about that back in the day. Another thing was that I noticed that all these girls, like all my other friends, had these best girlfriends. And I felt like I never had a best girlfriend. Looking back, I had plenty of wonderful friendships with females, but what I really wanted and what I was really longing for was a deep connection with a female, because I was a total lesbian and all I wanted was to find a girlfriend, but I didn't know that I wanted a girlfriend. All I saw were these pairs of girls hanging out, looking like they were having so much fun, and I wanted that so badly. Turns out I didn't want what they were having, but I thought that I did at the time, and the fact that I didn't have a best girlfriend to call my own made me feel really insecure. So, okay. These are the 3 reasons why lesbians can struggle with their self-confidence in ways that other people might not. So just to review, the first one is that our early crushes were likely not reciprocated and unrequited and unbalanced because of the fact that 9 out of 10 girls are not LGBT, and so they just weren't capable of feeling the same way about us. The second reason is that girls are mean and competitive. And even though all females have to pass through this, when we're wired to feel so much deeply about other girls, then that can be really traumatizing, and it could lead to major trust issues as we grow up and we become females who date other females. We might have these leftover trust issues from back in the days when girls were mean to us, and we were dealing with this female competition, and that could really hurt our confidence when dating. And the third is that it's just hard to be different. And even though all LGBT people, male and female, have to struggle with this, it still counts as something that we have to realize could be affecting our confidence. But the truth is that standing out is the new fitting in. That's just a truth about life. So for example, in business, if your resume isn't standing out, then no one's going to hire you. And if your product or service isn't standing out, then no one's going to pay for it. So standing out really is the new fitting in. And we evolved to live in a time that doesn't exist anymore. So those internal fears we have about being different, those are vestiges from the past. Those are relics of our DNA, and the emotional reaction we have to stuff like that, it's not keeping us safe in the modern world the way that those same instincts kept us so safe maybe 100,000 years ago for our ancient ancestors, right? So we don't need those instincts anymore. And when they come up, we don't have to buy into them. The truth is that there was never anything wrong with us, right? All those things that we experienced when we were younger that might have hurt so bad, there was nothing wrong with us. It's just that we were in these conditions that made it really, really hard for us to feel good back in the day. Because, as queer little females, it wasn't as if we were told that we had the option to like girls, or told that we had the option to go and try and connect emotionally with other girls my age. That just wasn't even a thing. So there was never anything wrong with us. We were just adorable little lesbians being brought up in conditions that we didn't understand and that left us a little bit confused in ways that we don't have to be confused anymore. And we didn't have to take it so personally. If we had language around these things back in the day, it might not have hurt so much when it was just so terrifying and so confusing back when it was happening. The fact that we're bringing awareness to it, that's the whole point. Because when we have awareness of the patterns that might be playing out in our subconscious mind, or when we have awareness over things that might be affecting us outside of our awareness, then we can start to become aware of these things. And the more we become aware of things, the more we can have control over them. And the truth is, we really don't have to buy into any of our fears, because fears are lies and they're not serving us. But what really will serve us at all times is to remember that there are hot lesbians everywhere. And if you're currently single and if you're currently lonely, then it means that you just haven't found your soulmate yet, but she is out there somewhere. The person who you're going to happily spend the rest of your life with, the woman who, when you meet her, is just going to light up your whole world, she's out there somewhere. And the cool thing about your soulmate, whoever she may be, is that she's going to be just as into you as you are into her, because that's what makes her your soulmate, right? She wouldn't be your soulmate if she didn't feel that way. And everyone does have another half. So yours is out there somewhere, and she's going to be just as obsessed with you as you are with her when you finally find each other in this world. But in the meantime, you haven't found each other if you're still single. So whoever that woman is, wherever she may be, don't forget that she's just as frustrated right now as you are. And she's just as lonely as you are, and she wishes just as much as you wish that the two of you could finally be united, and that if she would do anything to have your number and give you a call and tell you where to go meet her, because she's your soulmate and she's obsessed with you. So don't give up on her. You have to just keep on moving forward every day to be a better version of yourself, and keep on expanding your world, and keep on doing things that bring you to more people and more opportunities, and to just grow your life in as many ways as possible, because the more you grow your life, the more your life has the chance to intersect with hers, so that you can finally meet, because she is out there and she's counting on you to do your share while she does her share so that you can finally be united. And I'm so excited for you for when that happens. So you have to keep believing in her and keep working every day to be a better version of yourself, and just keep expanding your world and expanding the reach of your greatness, because the more you do, the more likely it will be to overlap with hers, and you'll finally bring your two worlds together. And I'm so excited for you for when that does happen. So I talked about a lot of stuff in this video, but I really want to hear from you because I'm curious. What of all the things I talked about was the most impactful for you? And of all of those things, what can you start to do right now to put it into practice in your life? Leave a comment below and let me know. And don't forget to head over to Women Wanting Women to become a Jordana Michelle Insider. When you do, you'll get access to exclusive content that I don't share anywhere else. Until next time, don't forget that hot lesbians are everywhere, that love is real, and that the woman of your dreams is on her way into your life in perfect timing, and you're going to be so happy when you meet. I'm really excited for that day to come. So thanks so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next video.